Hey everyone, this is Marketplace Tech Bytes. It's our weekly roundup of some of the big stories in tech and maybe some you missed. I'm Meghan McCarty, Carino. This week, digging into what's going on at Apple with all these recent departures, what the Warner Brothers bidding war could mean for the future of streaming, and McDonald's pulls an AI Christmas ad after some viewers weren't loving it. Here to discuss all that is our regular contributor, Joanna Stern, senior personal technology columnist at the Wall Street Journal. Hey, Joanna.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How have you been?
Good. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It is the most wonderful time of the year. We'll get into the McDonald's controversy in just a bit. But first, we got to start out with our bite of the week. This is a number that gives us a little insight into the week in tech. Joanna, what number should we know this week?
I'm going with 1 billion.
Okay.
Because that is hot off the presses. That is what Disney is investing in OpenAI.
Yeah. And apparently, coming with that deal will be some OpenAI generated Disney cameos for their social media use. So I guess we'll be seeing more sort of creative social media use of the Disney library of characters.
It's a whole new AI wonderful world. Or what is the? How does the
maybe
song
a brave
go?
new world? Maybe a beautiful. Yeah, we don't know yet.
I was going to go with "It's a Small World." You know, it's
yes.
a beautiful AI small world. Yeah, I also made a very bad joke this morning on Twitter that here it is. Look at this hype. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my bubble's complete?
Nice little mermaid call out. Love it. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's my era. Well, first up, we wanted to talk about what's going on at Apple. This is kind of an area where you have some expertise and some depth in talking to their executives. There's been kind of a critical mass of big departures from Apple recently. It was their environment and sustainability leader, their general counsel stepping down most recently, the senior VP of machine learning and AI strategy announced he's retiring next year. And then we also saw a design executive get poached by Meta. Reporting from the Wall Street Journal indicates that dozens of employees have left Apple for Meta in recent months. There's been a lot of, reshuffling and poaching going on in big tech, kind of adjacent to the AI race. But Apple is in this sort of unique position here. A lot of people have been looking at what Apple has been doing or not doing. You might say it's kind of taken a conservative approach to AI. And this is something that you've spoken to executives about. What do you think is going on here?
Well, look, I think there's a couple of forces at play here. One, as you said, is this is just an incredibly competitive time in Silicon Valley. And so that is the backdrop that Apple is in right now, where Meta and every other big company is vying for AI talent. So you've got that going on. You also have going on the idea, as we at the Journal have reported, and many have reported, that Tim Cook at some point soon will have to step down. I mean, just in terms of his age, in terms of his tenure at the company. And many think that he will be in place probably for another couple years, could be through the end of the Trump administration. Lots of questions about the timing. But with that backdrop true, you have the need to start bringing in new types of talent for this next wave of leadership. There's been a lot of reporting that the next CEO would be someone named John Turnus. He has been a lead engineer at the company. And so you could see that they would want to start to reshuffle the decks a bit as well. So some of this is absolutely competitive. People are going to other companies. They're getting poached. Other parts of this seem like this is Apple trying to start to reshuffle the chairs for a new wave of leadership.
OpenAI is also working with a former star of Apple, designer Johnny Ive, who helped bring us, these iconic Apple products like the iMac, the iPhone, the iPod, all of them. Mm-hmm. And OpenAI is developing some sort of AI device I think they hope will be like the next iPhone, although it seems like the iPhone is still doing just fine on its own. I mean, where do you see like the device kind of this struggle for the next device that will define how we interact with AI? It still seems to be very up in the air.
Look, my column on this, I'm writing a column on this for this week, and maybe by the time the show is out, that column will be out. I think what we've seen so far are really lackluster, pretty crappy AI devices. Yes. I should be the one to talk about it because I have tested almost all of them. This year I have I'm wearing a bracelet that records. I've worn the glasses. I've worn necklaces. I've worn it all. It's all crap right now for the most part. And so the real mission of all of these companies right now is to figure out how they can bring AI to our lives in a more interactive way, in a more seamless way. And they don't believe the smartphone is the right way. I will say, though, every single one of these AI devices has to connect to your phone. Mm-hmm. It's the way they connect to the models in the cloud. And if they want to even run on device, they have to run on the phone. So whatever the future is, at least in the next number of years, the phone is involved.
All right. Well, now we want to talk about the big entertainment tech story of the week, the bidding war for Warner Brothers Discovery, which includes properties like HBO. Of course, last week, Netflix agreed to buy much of the studio and streaming assets for about $83 billion. This week, Paramount, led by David Ellison, came in with a hostile takeover bid. We'll leave kind of the business side to others. But on the tech side, it seems like whatever happens, I think the expectation is we're going to see some consolidation in the streaming landscape, whether that's consolidation with Netflix, which would be huge, or consolidation with Paramount's streaming service. Generally, consolidation, not always a great thing for consumers, but maybe the streaming space could use some consolidation. I don't know. What do you think?
Look, this has been what a blockbuster story, and the drama behind this story, it clearly shows how competitive this landscape is. Yeah. From a consumer lens, look, I don't think we know yet, but we did a piece this weekend in the Journal. My colleague Nicole Nguyen did a piece about just the rising cost of subscriptions and how many we all have. And part of that has been in the streaming world that to watch a certain thing, you've got to go to one service and then you got to go to another service. And there's a lot of churn. You often will cancel one service after you've watched something or go to another. And I do wonder, obviously, Netflix incentive here, real want here is to acquire a lot more content and have that within their gates and have that within their walls. And so look, that could benefit us, right? We could have one less stop, a place to go to watch stuff. Yeah. But look, I mean, between the Max and the HBO Max, it's been such a, consumers just they should apologize to us. It was just say sorry to us for, how many times can we go through this? If you want to watch old episodes of Sex and the City, why should that be so hard?
Yeah, for every time that I think we have had to sort of stipulate Max, formerly known as HBO, we should get a nickel into our streaming accounts.
And even right now, putting us through this and not knowing, I think there's consumer confusion. Where am I going to find that show? Where are we going to? And now, all this news, people are wondering, do I go find that on Netflix? Right. It's no, the deal is not closed. There might not even be a deal. And so it's just consumer confusion. But maybe in the end, we will get less streaming services and less competition, which is probably not great for consumers in the end. But maybe it does also mean one less app on our smart TVs.
It does sort of feel like all roads are leading back to cable TV. The streaming services have, started to price similar to old school cable TV. We started to see bundling and consolidation that looks like cable TV. The one thing that does seem to have survived is, cancel anytime. So if that's all we end up with as, kind of a differentiator, I guess that's probably a win.
I agree. And look, this is there's the simplicity in some ways of what cable TV was, right? You would buy a bundle and you would get everything together, one price. This is a lot of hassle on the work of consumers where you're every maybe week or every month thinking, okay, I watched this on this. Do I need to have this? And then you add it all up. You're like, okay, yeah, it is the same price as that.
Yeah. You put the reminder on your calendar to cancel the service that you just signed up for the one movie. And then, it's just, it's nonstop. All right, well, finally, we wanted to highlight the latest misadventure in AI advertising, this time from McDonald's Netherlands division. They put out a 45-second Christmas spot, all AI generated, with the theme, "It's the most terrible time of the year." Here's a clip.
It's the most terrible time of the year. All the shops turn to mayhem, even Santa knows space, and the tree redecorated your place. It's the most terrible time of the year.
All right, so the whole ad, just a bunch of these AI vignettes showing kind of various holiday mishaps and unpleasantness. Some folks on social media did not take kindly to it, and McDonald's eventually pulled the ad offline. What do you make of this?
Well, I make of it that, look, at least they were being transparent, obviously. Yeah. But I think this is where we're headed. This is truly where we're headed. I don't know how long we will also get the transparency of where things are shot with real cameras and by real producers and real directors versus what was slotted in that was AI. And look, I think even the recent news that we're seeing today about Disney and them embracing AI and giving their characters over to OpenAI and saying, we're going to let you generate images and videos with the most precious IP ever, in many regards, we're seeing an embrace of this. And so I just think the lines are going to blur.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like it's really hard to judge from, these kind of like social media outrages that happen because there's a distortion on social media. I'm not sure that most consumers really care or most viewers really care. There is a very, big contingent that's very vocal on social media that has strong feelings about this. I'm not sure if I saw this spot, with no context, if I would have known that it was AI. It's pretty, the verisimilitude is pretty great. There are some laws of physics that have maybe slightly been bent in some of the clips, but it's pretty fine to my eye. It seems like a lot of the kind of discontent comes from maybe the sort of laziness or, the kind of seeing a big corporation have such a low effort commercial. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think it's that. And I think there's this feeling of stolen IP that these companies have stolen the videos and hard, creative, beautiful work of so many generations of filmmakers and writers and photographers, and insert any creative job here. Yeah. And now you have big corporations just doing that instead of hiring what would probably not amount to a lot of money for a company like McDonald's.
Right.
And so I think that's, you tend to see that in the backlash. I mean, even today, again, the response I'm seeing from Disney is, at least on social media, is people, sort of sticking their nose up at this and saying, how dare Disney do this?
Yeah. All right, Joanna Stern at the Wall Street Journal, thank you so much for joining us.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. And thanks to all of you for watching Marketplace Tech Bytes Week in Review. Daniel Shin produced this one. I'm Meghan McCarty Carino. This is APM.